Hi, welcome to this week's Cool Chief episode. I'm super excited today because I have an award-winning educator with us, and Christina is in the house, and she is going to be talking to us about compelling content, curating or creating compelling content. But before we get into that, I want to introduce myself in case you haven't seen one of these Cool Chief episodes before. I'm Jack Perez, and I am the CEO and founder of Kuel Life. Kuel Life is an online platform and a curated shopping experience for women in our second act. So basically women 45 and up. All of the content on the digital platform, on the Kuel Life platform, is relevant to us ladies. So if you haven't had a chance to go check it out, please do. And also the Kuel shop itself is focused on women entrepreneurs. So the products are made by women, for women. You get to purchase with a purpose. When you buy an item, it's not just handcrafted and handmade. You're literally weaving yourself into the fabric of that woman's life and empowering another sister. So I encourage you to go out there and take a look and participate. Before we get into the meat of content curation and content creation, Christina, would you do me a favor and introduce yourself to the Kuel Life audience? That would be so great.
Thank you, Jack, for having me. I am so excited to be here. I am Christina M. Johnson of Testimony Publishers, LLC, and I cannot wait to share some of the awesome tips that I have in store for you. I am an award-winning educator. Like Jack said, I've received grants, over $200,000 from Michael Jordan, Johns Hopkins University, the VA Hospital, the Rabin Medical Center in Israel. So among other organizations and companies, I have over 2 decades of experience as an educator in and outside of the classroom. I've developed curriculum, I've taught lessons and constructed special learning workshops for individuals who were at risk in at-risk communities. And all of that experience is now going into my online business, which is to help mompreneurs and fempreneurs share their story. So as an online hybrid publishing company, I help women to share their truth in the forms of books, blogs, brochures, whatever you want to publish, I actually help you do that.
That's awesome. And, we've talked a little bit offline, and I am so on board. I mean, you hit a real key point in something I'm very passionate about in sharing women's stories. Yes. I have a series, and it's, the Share Your Story, the Women the Wall Street Journal Missed.
Right.
And every Sunday I publish a woman's story, and it's a colleague, it's a neighbor, it's a family member, it's real women. And so I think that's fabulous. And the more you can, I can't wait to get your tips, because I'm a writer, but sometimes I have trouble, getting.
Right. We all do. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now we the virtual pen to paper, right? Because we don't really write that way anymore. But right. I am excited to hear. I think you told me you're bringing three tricks
yes.
of trade, or three
yes.
tips on how
yes.
you can start creating, compelling content without being paralyzed, So
Right.
Christina, what can we be doing with content creation? How can we write better content and faster content?
Right. Well, I am going to share those 3 tips. The first thing is, you touched on it already with your publications that come out every Sunday, your posts that come out every Sunday. And the first tip is to share your story. I like to say that our stories are like our fingerprints. No one has a story like we do. You can go to someone who has your name, someone who has your same race or gender or what have you, but no one has the exact same experiences that you've had and the perspectives that you have. So when you share your story, you actually separate yourself from the crowd, you stand out, and you're speaking your truth. So you're actually going to come across as more authentic And in your writing, you need to do that so that you can set yourself apart, no matter if you're in you're working for a Fortune 500 company, if you're online and you want to separate yourself in this crowded and saturated space. Speaking your truth and sharing your story will help you do that, separate yourself from the crowd.
Well, and what I love about that is it not only helps you as an individual, but you never know what your story may bring to somebody else. And that is the one thing, like, I have the privilege of reading all of these women's stories when they're submitted and helping them edit it. And each and every single time, I am a richer person by the end of that post than I was when I started it. And without fail. And it's so interesting because we are so diverse and so unique, but we're more similar than dissimilar. And there's so much to be learned and gleaned and from one another. So I think, just use reiterating, and I will reiterate it again. Yes, share your story with others because you enrich our lives, everybody's life when you do that. Okay, so once we're committed to sharing our story, how do we, what do we do now?
So the next thing is to get your story out. And I like to say, for the second tip, write without writing. So that sounds kind of weird, but it's something that I stand by. That's actually my secret sauce. I use dictation software to get my story out, to write it fast. And then later on, I can go back and do the editing, the copy editing, the proofreading, and things like that. So I came up with a few tools that you can use. Some are free and some are paid. So dictation tools that you would be able to use that are free would be within Word. You can go to the dictation feature, just click on it. It's a one-click feature, and then it opens up the dictation tool. You can also use Google Docs. And within Google Docs, there is a voice typing feature in the new documents, the documents that you publish there. And then there's a paid software. And I actually helped to test this when I was a teacher. I tested it for 3 years back in the 2000s. And it's entitled Nuances, Dragon Naturally Speaking. So this software is a paid product, but it's just as good as the others. And it actually goes a little bit more into your voice and identifying your intonation and things like that. So definitely dictation pieces. You can also use voice recorders or your smartphone. There are apps that you can put on your smartphone that will help you to get your story out, just so that you'll be able to identify what it is exactly you want to talk about, and then later on go back and fix it up before you publish it or send it off.
Okay, I have to say that's the best piece of advice I've heard in a long time, because I have to do a lot of writing and I run out of time. I'm not necessarily able to be in front of my laptop. Right. And what I'm hearing is that I can write on my way to the grocery store. I can write, which is, I am seriously going to go find an app on my phone and download it the minute we get off, because I really, that would be such an amazing tool for me. And I bet all of us, right? Because we all have downtime in the car or waiting on our kids to be done with something. If you're not lucky like I am, and my son drives now, it's a new thing. He just sort of drives.
Awesome.
But yeah, awesome. That's great. Okay, so dictate, because also I think that some people could get really paralyzed in front of a blank screen, but you can always talk, right? Right,
exactly. Something I wanted to add very quickly, Jack. After you record, there are some things that you can do where you won't have to go back and write it all down. Some of those apps that you can download onto your phone will actually transcribe it for you. So they do it automatically, just like the Google Docs, the Word, and also Dragon Naturally Speaking. Some of those apps do the same exact thing. So you're not just recording, it's also transcribing as well.
Okay, and that's important because you want to be able to do that if you're going to do is write content. All right, you said there were 3. So what's the third one?
The last one is to get over your fear. Fear, I actually changed it to an acronym. You have several people probably online you've seen breaking it down into an acronym, but fear, fiction embraced as reality. Most of the time, our fears aren't even real, but we've created them in our minds. And a lot of times when we share our story and we present our truth before the masses, we believe people are going to judge us harshly, or there's going to be some sort of backlash. Now, people may judge and there may be some criticism and things like that, but for the most part, the power of your story can touch lives, and that alone should be enough for you to go ahead and share your story and express what you're trying to say.
Right. Yeah. I mean, of course, I mean, I have a lot of fear, right? I mean, a
Yes.
fear of how I'm being perceived, or fear, but the reality is that my desire and my passion to be heard and not be invisible. And this is a thing that women in midlife really face, that there seems to be this wave of this invisibility cloak that starts to happen to us when we get older.
Right.
And, you know, there's a sea change in our midst. I mean, women, we're not going anywhere, and you're not there yet, Missy, but trust me, when you get there, hopefully it won't be as bad because of women like the ones that I have been finding and working with, and
Right.
also Kuel Life. I really want to make it so that we are not invisible, so that we can be heard, so we can share our stories and find that we're just so much stronger together than we are in silos. We just really are.
Right. Our stories, Jack, are the things that connect us. Even though we have the different stories and experiences, it's our stories that touch our hearts, touch people's hearts. And being women in the second season of life, or that next season of life, you know, there are other demographics that have felt invisible for a long time, different races, ethnicities.
Yeah.
If you speak another language in America, sometimes you can feel like you're invisible. But our stories, when we share them, people connect with us. The vulnerability, the honesty, the transparency that comes through, you can no longer be invisible. You can no longer maintain that silence or hiding in the corner, because your story makes you stand out. And you can do that in the boardroom. You can live your truth and be honest and share your story online, face to face with someone in the supermarket, or wherever you want to share your story and your truth. You can definitely do that and touch someone's heart.
Yeah. And, you know, and it's okay to be afraid. I mean, fear,
It is.
Right?
It
is. It really is. I mean, honestly, if we're not a little fearful, then we're really not living our truth.
Right. Right. If you're comfortable with everything, then you're not doing enough.
Right,
You are not, you don't have to live on the edge in like a reckless way, but living on the edge in the sense of, okay, I'm pushing myself, I'm moving forward, I'm doing something that's new and a little uncomfortable, but it's going to have so much fulfillment once I do it. I may not be comfortable with it, but once I do it and share my story, it's going to compel other people to share their truths and touch lives as well.
Yeah, I agree. I have found, you know, I have my nemesis is having difficult conversations with loved ones, not with strangers, with loved ones, with people that I love.
Okay.
If I have to bring up a topic that I'm uncomfortable with, or that I feel like I could be hurt or I could hurt someone, I have a really hard time. And I have worked super hard for years to try to get to the difficult conversation faster rather than postpone it.
Okay.
And I think that's what you're saying. It's like, don't slow yourself down. Don't cheat yourself because you have fear. You know, get comfortable with it and do it anyway, because more than likely it's going to be received, you know, in a very loving, accepting way. And sure, not every single time. There are people out there that aren't gonna receive you in a positive way. And you know, but but I think more than not, it does happen that way, at least in my experience.
And oftentimes we create different scenarios in our minds that haven't even happened yet. So a lot of times the energy that we produce within ourselves, because our thoughts are energy. So the energy that we produce in our minds, it actually ends up manifesting when that, may not necessarily have happened if we just went into it saying, okay, I'm speaking my truth. This is it. This is all I have. And whatever happens, whatever kickback I get, whatever response I get, then I'll deal with that as it comes.
Yep, absolutely. And ladies, if you're watching this on the rebroadcast and you have anything to add to this conversation, or you have additional questions about creating content, compelling content, and writing tips, please put them in the comment. Christina and I will circle back around and make sure we address them. We are also open to having another conversation and bringing more. I mean, she's an expert, so we're lucky enough that she's willing to share her expertise with us. So don't be afraid to ask questions and suggest future topics. Absolutely. I also think that Christina has something to offer the Kuel Life community, a downloadable, you told me and I forgot, but can you tell me again?
Absolutely. It's a downloadable ebook, and it's also an author training. So it's kind of twofold. If you're not interested in being an author, you can just download the ebook and it'll help you write at least 1,500 words in 15 minutes or less. So you'll be able to write very, very quickly. And then the next is the author training that I have, and it'll help you get the ideas for writing a book, a blog, or brochure, or what have you. So yeah, they can check that out.
Well, a lot of the Kuel Life community, I mean, I have a lot of writers that contribute. So ladies, if you are writing a blog or you have your own blog post, this would be, I think, a really valuable resource. I will put the URL, it's up in the description. I will also put it down here in the comments. To be purely transparent, of course, when you subscribe, you will subscribe to Christina's email list and to the Kuel Life email list.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. But that's great. I mean, I look forward to it. I'm going to go download it. I need some help, and I'm definitely going to get one of those transcription, what do you call dictation apps? Yes.
Right. The dictation apps. Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, I think we need to be wrapping up today's episode, but Christina, thank you so much for joining me and giving us 3 tips. Ladies, you got a story. It's yours. It's unique. Share it. Be okay with being afraid. It's okay, right? Just be comfortable in the discomfort. And last but not least, you don't have to worry about having time in front of the computer, or if you are, have trouble just starting to write. Speak. We all talk, just talking to your smartphone, and
absolutely.
And then you can go edit, because editing is so much easier than creating. Okay, well, this has been so much fun, and I've learned so much. Christina, until the next time. Bye.
Awesome. Take care. Thank you so much, Jack, for having me. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.